Hi, I'm Kylie. This might be a hot take, but refusing to date an entire race is racist. I was out at the bars in Chicago and a white man comes up to me and he starts talking to me, asking me for my phone number. I already wasn't interested, but I especially wasn't when he goes, "Yeah, we don't have that many white women left in Chicago. I don't date black women." Clearly, this was racist because he's operating under the assumption that white women are somehow better than black women. Are you allowed to have preferences in dating? Yes, but that preference becomes a problem when you are excluding entire demographics of people. The reason why is because whether you're consciously thinking about it or not, racism plays a role. How do you know that you wouldn't be attracted to a single black woman out of the millions that there are? And if he says, "Oh, I won't be attracted to them," that is rooted in racism because it's rooted on you not liking the color of that person's skin. Or, even more sinister, not wanting to have multiracial children, which is equally problematic and racist. A preference is liking someone who's muscular, or has red hair, or has their hair in twists. It's not, "Oh, I don't date black people." That's just racist.
Drop a hot take.
Okay, racial preference is racist. I was recently dating a guy and he expressed very aggressively that he would not have intercourse with a black woman because of their hair and skin. And he defended it as it being preference, but really it's flat out racism.
She hates her family and deep down she wants to eradicate them from her past and future. Okay, T.O. man, you are a white man that has an issue when a white woman dates a black man. Please answer this question. Why? I'm not being facetious. I'm not being funny. I really want to know why. And it also strikes me as strange because I've been dating black men before social media was a thing, like over 20 years now. I'm almost 39. No one in real life seemed to give two shits about what race I dated. It just wasn't a big deal. And I guess that's why I'm just a little surprised, because your girl has been in a different space on social media and I came over here. I just wanted you guys to know that sometimes gingers like chocolate in their diet, okay? And then you guys were spouting off some inaccurate, very stereotypical racist comments. And I'm gonna call that ish out, but I just wanna understand why. Because when I say I've had some unhinged, crazy comments, one told me I was gonna be pimped out. Pimped out. All the comments seem to just want to devalue black men. And look, I'm not the black man advocate. Not all black men are amazing, all right? But the reasoning makes no sense. It's just making you white men look very insecure. And I know not every white man is like this. I know not every white guy has a problem with interracial dating. And I guess the second question is, do you even know why you don't like it? I have a theory, but we're gonna let the white guys go first.
No, it's promoting that white women, if they want to date interracially, no matter who it is, need to stand up against racism within their family, within their friends, or just in public socially, as we see the current issues that happen in this country. White women who intentionally date outside of their race and won't combat racism is a problem. Why put your loved one in a predicament of being hurt or talked about? It's not okay.
Family, can you write off a whole demographic of people saying that you cannot date them? Family, that to many people seems to be racist. You cannot just write off everyone, and say you cannot date them. I understand preference could be the size of an eye of a person, how their hair looks, the color of their hair, their height. That is preference. But when you say you cannot date a whole demographic of people, you seem to be racist. In this video, you'll see many white folks call out other white people who are saying they cannot date black folks, saying that that is racist. Family, over the years, we've seen how much racism can be costly. Racism has costed white America, to be specific, so much. We are seeing how fascism is continuing to be, perpetuated in many of the government being formed in America today. We are seeing more and more people, suffer because of these fascist ideologies being pushed by leaders who they chose because of racism. So family, I want you to watch this video all the way to the end for you to be able to understand this fact. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. And family, in a special way, I want to thank my subscribers who are buying me a coffee. The link is on the description down below. I do not take your support for granted. Let's watch this video, then we'll be right back.
Listen, all you young little white girls. If you know that your family members do not like black people and they are racist, why would you put a young man in harm's way, when you already know your family is this way? Why would you bring him around your family if you know your family is going to harm him or kill him? Why would you do that to a human being? Now, I could say, young white dudes, why would you bring your black girlfriend around also these white family members who are racist? So it can go with any gender. But what I do know is that these young black women who date these young white men, you don't see these young white men getting killed. You don't see them being harmed. You don't see that. Maybe the black family members don't like y'all are together, or they'll talk about you, or they won't agree, but they're not going off and killing these young men. But these white people who think they better, who think that other people aren't human beings, who can go and kill these black people and then sleep at night and not even think about it or be in disgust of it. Like white young women, even white women, if you know your family's going to put these men in harm, why? Why would you do that to them? Why would you do that to their family? Why? You guys need to think. Think smarter.
A lot of people asked me to talk about this in the last video, so I'm going to get into it. White women that are racist that are in interracial relationships. This comment comes from a video where I'm talking specifically about white people and black people, so I'm going to keep it to the white women in interracial relationships with black men just to keep it simple, but this could pertain other places. First, I'm going to talk about how you can tell, and then I'm going to talk about why I think that is. The number one way to tell that a white woman is racist and in an interracial relationship with a black man is that she doesn't have not one friend that's a black woman. And I'm not even talking just true friend, like that's obvious too, but I'm talking that she probably don't even have a black woman as an acquaintance. She probably doesn't even fuck with the black women she works with. This white woman is very set on specifically only fucking with black men. The next thing that gives this away is the way that they always talk about how they want biracial babies or black babies on the contingency that those black babies have biracial features. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it rubs me, there's something in my throat. It rubs me the wrong way when they specifically talk about, I want biracial babies. Your babies are going to be perceived as black. You need to understand that if you bring biracial babies into the world in America, a lot of, especially racist white people, are going to perceive your babies as black because they're not fully white. So specifically always saying, I want biracial babies, why can't you just say black? Does that make sense? Maybe I'm wrong there. You guys feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's giving something weird, you know? Like your babies are going to be black. They're going to be perceived as black. Why are you grasping on to the little bit of whiteness that they're going to have when that's not how they're going to be perceived? Moving forward, god damn. Sorry. The next thing that gives this away is these white women usually don't have friends of other vulnerable populations. And if they do, they cherry pick which type of vulnerable population they're going to fuck with. So these are the type of white women that'll be like, oh, I have a gay best friend, but they don't actually see that as a person who happens to be gay. They also likely don't have friends on the other end of the spectrum of the LGBTQ community. They probably don't advocate for trans rights or have trans friends. They also probably don't have friends of other ethnicities. Even men, they have racist tendencies towards other races besides just the specific black man they're dating. And the reason why they're dating this specific black man, in my opinion, is this very specific type of black man makes it his whole personality to hate black women. And these white women are so insecure that they feel like they can't compete in their own white community. I don't like the way that sounds, but they can't compete against other white people for... Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say, I hope. But so they go after these black men to compete with black women. And then they both like bond over this weird hatred that they have for black women. That also ties into why they're not friends with black women, which I said in the beginning. The last really big indicator is that these white women oftentimes don't advocate for black issues. They especially don't advocate for black issues that don't pertain specifically to the black man they're dating. They cannot see outside of themselves. And I guess one more thing, the really big indicator for me is anytime, god damn,
I'm sorry about that. But anytime these white women get called out for being racist in interracial relationships, because it's very easy to see, other people can see all of these signs, their first immediate go-to is, but my boyfriend's black, but my husband's black. Yeah, but how does his mom feel about you? Do his sisters like you? That's what I thought.
And I repeat, some white women do not need to date out of their race, knowing that 90% of their family and friends are racist. If you openly know the people around you are racist, do not date a black man knowing you will not stand up to your family and friends against racism. If me being racist is me telling white women that don't stand up for their interracial couple is racist, then I guess that's what I am. But me, I'm going to speak up and hold white people accountable if there's an ignorant stranger, friend, or family, just like I always have. PSA, do not date outside of your race unless you are ready to combat racism.
If you are a white woman and you are dating, in love with, married to a black man, I want you to listen up. There are certain things that you need to know. And I don't think this is spoke about enough. But the most dangerous thing in this world are the tears of a white woman. And if you truly love the black man that you are with, you need to know that you need to have his back and protect him at all costs, including protecting him from yourself. And what do I mean by that? My son was dating a white woman. My son is biracial. They got into an argument in public, and she started to scream and cry. And my son immediately left the scene. She was outraged. She couldn't believe my son left. My son left because my son knew that if he stayed there and this woman was crying and screaming at him, a black man, there was not going to be any questions asked. He was going to be thrown to the ground. He was going to go to jail. It was not going to be any questions asked because this white woman was crying and screaming about him. Now, I'm sure this female may have been hurt. Her feelings was hurt. She was a little emotional. However, when you are dating a black man and you're a white woman, you need to understand that sometimes your fucking feelings and your emotions have to take a fucking back seat to not cause harm to the person you are dating, that you love, that you are married to. And I'm not telling you that if you are truly in fucking danger, not to get help. But if you're just emotional, you're just pissed off, and you want to scream and hoop and holler, in public is not the time. Because that can turn out very deadly for the black man that you claim to love so much, whether you realize it or not. If you were just dating a white man and you were yelling, nobody would really pay any attention to that shit. But when people see a white woman and a black man and you're screaming, all hell will break loose. Because when white women cry, everybody responds. Even if the shit is stupid, even if it's frivolous, even if it's a lie. The most deadliest thing in this world are white women tears. I have said this time and time again. And I learned this very, very early in life. I grew up in the projects. I was raised by two wonderful black women that helped my mother raise me. So I know what I have witnessed, what I have experienced, and I know for a fact of what I speak. I learned very early in life that I could be a voice for my friends and my family because people would listen to me far more than they would listen to them. And if you listen to anything I have ever said to you on this app, if you are a white woman and you are dating a black man, you are in love with a black man, you are married to a black man, you need to know that you need to have his back and protect him at all costs, even if it is protecting him from you. Handle that shit at home if you are not in danger.
No, it's promoting that white women, if they want to date interracially, no matter who it is, need to stand up against racism within their family, within their friends, or just in public socially, as we see the current issues that happen in this country. White women who intentionally date outside of their race and won't combat racism is a problem. Why put your loved one in a predicament of being hurt or talked about? It's not okay.
I just seen a white woman say the reason why black men don't want to date black women or want to complain to white women about black women is because of the fact we hold them accountable. I never thought I'd seen the day where a white woman come out her mouth and say that. I'm shocked. Y'all need to go find the video, because she was spot on. We do hold y'all accountable. We do ask y'all, why do y'all cheat? We do ask y'all, why do y'all like to publicly embarrass us, privately embarrass us, act like we the problem when you do embarrass us, and then swear up and down it's our fault why y'all don't take care of your kids, okay? The percentages of how many men don't take care of y'all kids, and I already showed the proof. And here's the proof. I knew that if I didn't show proof, y'all was gonna sit here and try to say that that's not true, knowing damn well it is. But the accountability, when are y'all gonna start taking accountability? You need to know that everybody has flaws, right? And if you're a black man sitting here acting like you don't have no flaws with what you're doing to other people, especially black women, there's something wrong.
Anytime I mention that I like to date black men, the first comeback from insecure little white boys is, welcome to being a single mom. It is like clockwork. And then when I'm like, I'm already a single mom, but it's due to a white man. Then you guys want to take my 21-year-old daughter who is biracial and be like, no, that black man back in 2003, he made you a single mom. Which is not true, because I got married when I was 3 months pregnant to my white ex-husband. So in fact, when she was born, I was a married mom. The reason she isn't mentioned isn't because I'm trying to hide her. I actually post her a lot on social media because I am a proud mama, okay? But she's 21. She lives in a different state. She's old enough to drink, vote, and buy cigarettes. I'm referring to my 3 minor children who are from a white man. Now, when I mention this, it is all for kinds of kicks and giggles, honestly. Like, I am not trying to throw shade at my ex-husband. He watches my videos. He doesn't care. No race of any man will ever make me a single mom again, because I'm not going to be having any more kids. The reason it's even brought up is due to racial stereotypical judgment. So if it was a black man, he's a horrible man, and that's what I get for wanting to date black guys. So when it's a black man, it's his fault. When it's a white man, it's the white woman's fault. Make it make sense.
Family, in this video you've seen many white folks call out their people, telling them whatever they are doing, in saying they cannot date black folk. That is racism, and they are saying that is unacceptable. They are trying to teach many white women and white men who are facing opposition for dating black people to stand strong and stand against it. They are saying that that is what they should do to ensure that racism, when it comes to interracial marriages, ends. Some people do not want to date black people because they'll have mixed children. They want pure white children. And that, to many white folks, according to the video, is racist. And family, that is a step forward. Seeing white folks call out their people, telling them that is so bad, is something that I did not see coming in my lifetime. Family, even being able to call out white people, by white folks telling them that racism is costing them, is something I never saw coming. Racism has caused a lot of problems today in America, family. When we look at the system in America today, it is being controlled by a fascist leader who was chosen by white people, thinking that the white privilege will still continue, because white privilege has been embedded in America over the years. So they thought that having a white leader in the White House would mean that their interests would continue to be put in place. Many white farmers, in many states that do farming always thought that choosing Donald Trump would make them be in a position of privilege. Right now, we are seeing most of them crying, saying they'll be able to lose their land, in a few months. This is all thanks to racism. This is all thanks to choosing a fascist leader, thinking that their interests would be put to place. With the very, very same mindset, when you come back to dating in America, saying that you cannot date a black person, that already shows us, that you are supporting racism. The very same racism that is eating you all up. The very same racism, that is ensuring that everyone is suffering today in America. Look at the media being attacked by President Donald Trump. You'd wonder why is this happening. This is all thanks to racism. He says right now that he shall never be criticized as the President of the United States of America. He believes that whatever he says is final. He doesn't want to be to find any opposition. This is all thanks to racism. These are the fruits of racism. So white folks have started seeing the heaviness, the heavy cost of racism. When you look at the education sector, the tuition fees in many institutions of higher learning, like the colleges, they are very, very high today. This is all thanks to racism. They thought that if the fees were lower, black people would be learned, and black people would be able to benefit from the same. But at the same time, they lost the bigger picture, ensuring that education is actually favorable for everyone. They lost it. When you look at the healthcare system in America, there's no universal healthcare in America because they thought that black folks would be able to benefit from the same. With the same idea, they came with it even in dating. Many white families do not want their people to date black folks. Because of the racist ideologies they've been growing with, the racism that has been embedded, in America today. Many white folks are calling out their people, saying they can't date blacks. That to them is racist. You cannot say that you cannot date a certain demographic of people. You can't rule out a whole demographic of people. Refusing to date a whole race is racist. A preference is having certain things that you prefer in somebody. You'd say that you prefer, a muscular person. You'd prefer a slimmer person, somebody who's heavy, those are preferences. You want somebody with a beautiful eye, that's a preference. But when you say that you do not want a certain demographic of people, a certain group of people, that already tells us that you are racist. You're choosing somebody over a large demographic of people. That in itself is racist. And family, I was so happy seeing some folks, white people, calling out their own people, telling them that is bad. I understand people would have preferences and say that they want to date from their own race, but telling somebody that alone is even more racist. You're telling a black person that I can never date you. That is bad. And family, this video has just taught me a lot about how people should survive together, how people should be loving towards each other. And family, seeing white folks call out their own people, telling them that whatever they are doing is wrong, is something that I must applaud and say that is a good step to ensure that now racism will end in the near future. Family, like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'd be very, very grateful. Kindly comment down below. Let me know what you think about white people calling out other white folks, telling them that saying that they cannot date a certain demographic of people is racist. Lastly, I'd highly appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, family. We just hit 30,000 subs, and I do not take your support for granted. Kindly share this video widely with your friends and family. The goal of the channel has always been to talk about black stories, black history, and ensure that we tell black stories the black way. Because if we give the white supremacists an opportunity to tell our stories, many a times they whitewash our stories. Thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.